Hello spooky people, it is Lilith and welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for joining me today for the momentous return of Lil to the YouTube. Today is just like a chatty video while I do my makeup and just kind of catching you guys up to speed on what I've been up to and what I'm looking forward to doing here moving forward into the future. But no more rambling, let's go ahead and jump right into it. Life has been lifing on, as it always does. Kinda had always wanted to come back to YouTube. It had always been sort of a thought in the back of my mind of, you know, oh, I'll come back and I'll start posting again at some point, but just something that I never quite made the time for. But part of that was sort of like technology things. Like I was filming on my camera for a while and then editing stuff on my phone. Then I ran out of space on my phone. Oddly enough, I like editing videos on my phone because I can kind of do it anywhere. But the phone I had was starting to become old and I didn't have any space on there anymore, so every time I tried to edit something, it just became a huge pain in the ass trying to get space on there to fit all the clips. But now, I have a new phone, and I have a nice camera on my phone. I got a Pixel, which honestly, my phone camera at this point is probably just as nice as my mirrorless camera. There's some things that I'll still use the mirrorless camera for, because it has a nice tripod with it, but a lot of things I'm going to be doing with my phone now, which is going to make it a lot more convenient. The other thing that has been kind of keeping me off of YouTube was working on TikTok stuff, which I like TikTok. I'm glad that I did it. It was definitely fun and interesting to shoot short form stuff. Not that I'm completely done with it, but I'm kind of ready to focus more on YouTube and less on TikTok. Partially because, you know, there's kind of seems like it may be on its way out with everything going on with politics recently. But then also I think that TikTok is just not good for my mental health. I know I'm definitely not alone in that. I feel like it's very easy to get wrapped up in it. Not that YouTube isn't that way, I just think it's different. I think the algorithm is very different and it makes it easier for you to kind of fixate on the stuff that comes up on your feed in a not healthy way. I moved you guys a little bit, that way you can see my eyeshadow better when I get to that. I think the other thing that really was appealing about TikTok to me was the editing. Like, just that the editing was built into the app itself and wasn't nearly as time consuming, whereas with YouTube it can take a couple hours to film a video depending on what it is, especially if it's like a tutorial sort of thing where I've got a bunch of little clips to add together. Like, that can take some time to do that in the voiceover, but I don't know. I have missed YouTube, and it was kind of the thing that initially made me want to start making videos in general and sharing my creative habits with people, and I definitely feel this pull to come back to it because of that. In kind of other news, I've been feeling a lot more spiritual recently. I've kind of, for me, it's one of those things where it kind of comes and goes, and sometimes I feel connected to it more so than others, and recently I've just felt very connected to my spirituality again, and that's a nice feeling, because sometimes in life, you know, you get kind of lost in the shuffle of working and doing events and stuff, and you can kind of lose direction sometimes, or at least I feel that way. And I feel like recently I've kind of found new motivation to work on my goals because of getting back into spirituality a bit. I think has helped me kind of recenter myself. In kind of a similar vein with spirituality, I recently got to go on a trip to New England and to Salem and Boston. I actually got this really cool hoodie there, Black Veil Tattoo Studio, if you guys have seen that. If not, you should check it out, some pictures of it online. It's really cool, atmospheric kind of like metaphysical shop with a tattoo studio connected to it. And I just have to say, being in Salem was very refreshing. We live in like central Florida, and there's definitely a scene for that whole, swamp witches we out here, but I feel so much animosity as an alternative person and as a genderqueer person in Florida. So being in a much more liberal state was very refreshing because of that. I had felt so safe and so welcomed there, not just by the alternative people that we happened across in Salem. Like, just people on the street would stop me, and we were visiting a friend of ours while we were there, and come and say something nice to us, say that they liked our outfit. And it's like, that's such a stark contrast from the way that it is here, where getting evil eye and shit from rando normie people on the street. It's just like, obviously I don't, especially at the point I've been doing it for years at this point, I don't expect most people to understand it, but I think it's just like, not being an asshole is the least that you can do, right? Like, if you see somebody on the street and you don't understand like why they look a certain way or why they're doing what they're doing, it's like, mind your business. It's free to be nice. Like, what do you get out of being nasty and rude and just shitty? Like, I don't know. I don't let it bother me, really. It's just, I can't imagine why some people choose to live their life that way. I had to perform a little bit of surgery on my eyebrows to make the arch higher. I'm gonna come back to those when I'm not filming to do the liner. To focus. Other somewhat recent development with life is that my Etsy shop is open back up, and my partner has been making some stuff to go in there as well. And yeah, we've been working on just selling jewelry again. He makes leather like chokers, like spike chokers and stuff with cool hardware on it, and then I'm doing more like velvet chokers, stuff with bones, stuff with crystals. It's pretty exciting, and it's nice to have somebody to work on it with me, just because whether it's like vending in person or vending online, there's just a lot that goes into it. So it's nice to have another set of hands and just moral support too with the shop. I took a break from Etsy for a while, and I spent the past year vending in person on and off, and that's been really cool. It's been nice to kind of get more in touch with our local art and creative scene. I know I am not giving you guys a good view of what I'm doing with this, but at some point in the future I'll do like an actual tutorial of like how I do my makeup. The sort of thing I'm doing now is kind of like been my usual thing over the past few months, which is very different from the way that I used to do my makeup. Like, I used to do a lot more like big wings and like graphic liner, and I still think that looks cool, but I just feel like doing like stuff that's kind of more dark and smoky just feels kind of more sort of androgynous to me, which has been kind of more of the wavelength that I'm on. I feel like I like that kind of graphic liner, but it just, to me, it reads very femme, and I'm not usually about that recently. I don't know. I feel like I feel most comfortable expressing myself where I'm kind of somewhere between being feminine and masculine. I don't put any, like, hard, fast labels on it either. Like, there's definitely some labels that I identify with or that I feel like describe it well, but I just feel like gender is such a complex thing that I can't really put it into one box for me, and I don't think there should be an expectation that anybody should have to do that. As far as coming back to YouTube goes, I'm not gonna make any upload schedule or promise or anything, but I definitely wanna have less than a year gap between this video and the next one. With that, if there's any particular kind of videos that you guys want to see from me, whether it's something that I've done before or otherwise, if you have some other kind of suggestion, let me know. I really want to do some more clothing, fashion related videos. I feel like that was the main thing I was doing here, and still very much into fashion. And I've kind of, since I've been on here, I've gone through a lot of different phases with it, and I feel like my style has evolved a lot since I've been active on here. So I'd be excited to share some of that with you guys. Go ahead and wrap up today's video. Here is the look. Pretty happy with it. This is pretty standard fare as far as what I've been doing recently with my makeup, but we'll do more of like a tutorial sort of thing some other time. But thank you so much for joining me. Just a few closing words, closing thoughts before we say goodbye today is that I am just really grateful for the direction that my life has been moving in recently. I've been feeling a lot better. I've had a kind of difficult past year. 2022 kind of kicked my ass a little bit, and I'm just happy to be in a better headspace. I feel like very connected to what I need to be doing with myself, what the future is supposed to be for me, and I'm grateful for that. This channel is part of that journey, and I'm so happy for those of you who've decided to join me on that. And thank you, and I hope that you guys have a great rest of your day.